Sunrise in Kyiv. Once again, the sound of gunfire in the distance as Russian forces come ever closer to Ukraine's capital. Southwest of the city, plumes of smoke rise above an oil depot in Kyiv. Ukrainian forces said the fire began after a Russian airstrike. Some Western intelligence officials say Moscow's invasion is slower than expected, but the pace of Russia's troop movement means little to people in places like the southern city of VOLNOVAKHA.
Look, we were sitting in basements and they were walking around everywhere shooting. We couldn't leave the basement for over a day. Then I walked up to a soldier and I said, "Boys, my mum is bedridden up there. She's a grandma and I can't go up there." The guys wanted to help me bring her down into the basement, but when we went up there, she had already died. It was already too late.
In Kyiv, emergency workers search for survivors in what's left of an apartment block. The eastern city has been shelled for days by Russian forces, as has CHERNIHIV in the north of Ukraine. Reminders of the past are everywhere in this city, but the present is relentlessly bleak.
The enemy is continuing air and rocket shelling of the city of CHERNIHIV. The peaceful population is dying and there are many injured. The enemy is hitting civilian infrastructure.
Western Ukraine has been spared the worst of the conflict for now, but things could be changing. In Lutsk, a Russian missile attack destroyed an airfield on the city's outskirts. 4 soldiers were killed in the attack on the airfield. The funerals of 2 of them have just taken place in this church in the centre of the city. The mayor of Lutsk says that people here, though, won't be intimidated by Russian forces.
People just a little scared, but we have no total panic in our city. We don't see people leave in our city. We don't see refugees leave in our city, and we are still believe that Ukraine will win.
Lutsk is 110 kilometers from the border with Russia's ally Belarus. Some Ukrainian officials say Belarusian troops could join the war. Others say that's unlikely.
If they want to come here, let them come, but we will destroy them and send them back in body bags.
I hope Belarus will reconsider their position. There's enough war. It's a massacre.
A shelter in the city is now home for VIACHESLAV and his family. He says they fled more than a week of unbearable Russian shelling. His children cried every day. Lutsk is close to Belarus, but it's also not far from the Polish border. VIACHESLAV says they could go to Germany, but for now he just feels lost.
They took everything from me. I had a comfortable house. The kids all had their own room. Now where will I go? And for what? I'll have to start from scratch. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm 41.
For people caught up in this war, there are painful decisions. Often there are no choices. Parents across Ukraine are struggling, trapped in a terrible situation they didn't create, holding their children's futures in their hands. Natacha, Butler, Al Jazeera, Lutsk, northwest Ukraine.